guys, welcome to Shama TV. We're shooting from the Dallas Digital Summit. I have with me today Antonio Casanova, who works with Starcom West as VP of Search. So Antonio, thank you so much for being with us. Search engine marketing is obviously a hot topic. SEO, as we both know, has changed so dramatically in the last few years, yet there's all these misconceptions and myths and still a lot of, allow us to build you 100 links
That's
for
right.
$100. But I'm really curious as to what you see the future of search being. I would love to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, in terms of the future of search, I think we need to look at the way that search has evolved over the last 10 years, 10, 15 years. And there have been two main drivers of that evolution. One of them has been personalization, and the other one has been semantic search. So the first one, personalization, is pretty evident. What it means is that Google and the search engines are trying to provide results that are personalized as possible to you. And they do that by looking at the location you're searching from, by looking at the device that you're using, your previous search history. So on that front, one thing that is kind of interesting and controversial is that right now, Google has stated that social media signals, as in plus ones or likes, they're not directly part of the algorithm for rankings, but common sense says that that's going to become more important. So that's one of the pieces of the future, I think, is that personalization is going to continue to increase, and the way for search engines to do that is going to be to look at these signals coming from social media. Because when you think about it, social media is a treasure chest of information on what people like, what people comment on. And Google needs to use that, Google and Bing and the others, to refine those rankings and present results that are not just relevant, but also authoritative, if you will. So that's one side. The other side, on the semantic search side, which really what it means is the engines have tried to look beyond the keyword or behind the keyword and trying to figure out what is the real intent behind this keyword.
So apple fruit versus apple computer.
Right, exactly. Or many other words that are could have two different meanings or two different nuances. And for that, they look at all these other different factors, but there's one piece that they've advised that webmasters do, which is use semantic markup. So schema markup is an example of how webmasters, web developers, they can tag their websites, they can code their websites in a way that is going to connect to the convention that Google's recommended, and that's going to allow Google to see this information and then present it. And you've already seen this, and all of you have already seen this. If you search for recipes on Google, you're going to see ratings, the number of reviews, you're going to see prep time, calorie information, many other things. They're also applicable to products. You see this a lot for products, electronics, and so on. So that's going to be another area where the future of search and SEO is going to be webmasters getting a little bit better at using these conventions to tag content, and then Google getting those answers to you faster than they do today. And this is happening already for some search keywords that you search for symptoms for a particular disease, and they're already in there on the Google search and results page instead of you having to go to a page.
To go further. So with personalization, you mentioned that, and you agreed, such a big part. There's still a lot of companies that are hung up on rankings. Are we top 10 for this keyword? Are we top 10? But your top 10 looks very different than my top 10 today based on location, based on... So what metrics should someone be focusing on to see is our SEO efforts successful? Yeah,
I mean, that's classic and very good question, which is that with SEO, many SEOs have the tendency to focus too much on rankings, too much on keywords. Instead of thinking, you can think of it as a pyramid, and the pyramid right at the top of it, you have what's really driving the business. Could be orders, could be form submissions, leads, could be visibility or shares. There are different metrics, but really the ones that are driving the business should be at the top. Underneath that, you have organic traffic. So how much traffic are you getting from search engines? And not just traffic overall, but traffic to specific pages that are important, or to pages that you are creating on an ongoing basis as part of your content strategy. And the foundation of that, below conversions, below traffic, you can look at rankings. They can inform. There shouldn't be a primary metric, but they can inform, and there are ways of obtaining kind of non-personalized rankings from Google, through different tools and platforms. And that can help you gain some visibility into how you're doing. And then the absolute foundation of all the processes, how well have you optimized? And we actually have an approach at Starcom in which we evaluate a client's website and we give it a score to really determine how well are they complying with SEO best practices. But at the top is always conversions, then you have traffic, then rankings, if you even look at them, And then the foundation has to be the qualitative optimization of your site.
Right, right. And so that brings us to content, right? Content being such a big part. I mean, you're really SEO or all the technical side, I feel like is on a crutch without good content. And so that becomes a question of scalability. So for a lot of companies looking to say, hey, I thought I could pay a couple $100 a month to optimize my website or whatever it may be, now, you have to blog once a week and now it's more and more. So any thoughts on kind of what it takes to scale something like that, to scale a good search strategy?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I have a couple thoughts. The first one's got to do with prioritizing those opportunities. So the beauty, I think the most exciting piece of SEO is that, and search in general, is that you can take data, insights around how consumers search for things, and use that to inform your content strategy. So instead of just coming up with ideas on what you think might resonate, you can look at the data and the search volume for the different keywords. So by looking at the volume of the keywords, the relevance of the keywords to your business, and the competitive of those keywords in SEO, which you can get from a couple different tools, Moz is one of them, you can then prioritize the opportunities and then see, okay, what are the topics that I should be writing about first? Now, in terms of scaling it, it's a good question. It depends on the team that you have, right? If you have a team internally that can do it, that's great. There are platforms and agencies out there that connect contributors with brands and can allow you to scale. Skyward is an example of an agency we use for one of my clients for Samsung. They're connecting these different contributors to the client.
But either way, you have to invest resources to have a good search engine marketing strategy these days, right? So like when we work with clients, search doesn't work in the silo anymore. I mean, there's the search team, but they work with content, they work with social, like all those pieces, all those team leads talk to each other. Like that's the only way we find that you can actually really drive, results.
And that's an excellent point, because when you think about it, sometimes you have resources already that you can use for writing, that you can use for this strategy, but it's a matter of, as you're saying, connecting the social media stakeholders with content and technical and search, which sometimes are media stakeholders, to put it all together and find the people to create this content.
Do you think there's more misinformation in SEO than any other field in marketing, in terms of a lot more misconceptions and a lot of myths and a lot of just bad information out there?
Yeah, I think there's quite a bit of bad information, also quite a bit of good information. The thing with SEO is that sometimes there's a myth that, because the algorithm evolves and changes, that it's going to be so hard for you to really catch up to that. So SEO in a way might not be as efficient or as useful. The reality is that the principles have remained the same for a long time. And then things have evolved.
Competition's evolved though, right? I mean, before you were competing with 100 websites, now it might be 1 million or more websites.
Or many more. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of an issue of not understanding the practice itself and what the key principles are. And also the other issue is that some people try to tackle it on a siloed basis. Just SEO is SEO, let's do it on the back end, we'll fix a couple things.
Our experience is that just doesn't work. Yeah, just treat SEO as a siloed kind of part.
It has to be part of that technical content, even media strategy, PR, social, it's all connected to drive SEO. So if you don't realize that and you miss that, SEO is not going to drive the results that you want.
That's good. Well, on this show, we try to separate kind of the wheat from the chaff, and so we like having guests like you on here who we can have conversations with and help enlighten the viewers. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being here with us. Guys, be sure to subscribe so you can tune into all the other awesome content we have going on. Until then, remember to market like a Zen master.